What's going on, guys? I am back. It is Darth. We are in Queen's Blade Limit Break. I have still been playing. I have not forgotten about the community and the things going on in the community. I got a lot to get caught up on. There was a serious update to the game where they instituted some good and semi-bad changes I still need to go over. I will prep a video on that. My absence has been due to my hectic work schedule, as well as the return of Mayhem PvP in Destiny 2. Anybody who suffered through my videos knows I loves me some Destiny 2 Mayhem PvP mode. Teaching hunters a much needed lesson in not following a warlock into a corner with a pocket Nova bomb, and schooling nubs in the proper teabagging etiquette. Anyways, that aside, this is a good video here because we are going to be going over and taking a look at an overview of the brand new SP Warrior. It's not just a brand new SP Warrior, it is the very first dual attribute SP Warrior. That's right. Not that long ago, we got our very first long-awaited break SP Warrior. Well, they released a dual SP Warrior. I just now realized I did not pull for at least one copy of the break Warrior. Anyways, I digress. Yeah, let's go take a look at it. I'm going to give you a breakdown of her abilities, some of the things that I have seen, whether or not you should pull for her, how far I think you should pull for her, and some tips on using her in combat. But you may want to pull for her anyways. I just want to reiterate that since this is a brand new warrior, her arrival event, is going to give you currency that you can use in the exchange. Well, the exchange resets every day because it's her first rotation. Remember, on the first rotation of a warrior, the arrival and spicy summons tickets reset daily. So having her to at least 8 stars, 9 stars if you are using gems throughout, but most people can pull through 8 stars. It's just 2 copies, and by a certain number of days, within a few days, you can actually be getting both the arrival summons and spicy tickets at 10 and 10 a day for the remainder of the exchange shop. But anyways, without further ado, let's actually go in and take a look at her. Man, she actually is very good looking. She's got this little dagger. This is actually blood, I believe. They're called blood flowers, so it's blood in the form of, well, flowers, if that's what you can say, but very solid artwork, guys. However, the breadwinner here is the spicy pose. There's nothing I can say. I'm just going to kind of point out a few areas here where she just excels. For all you pervs out there. Anyways, let's go take a look at her skills real quick. This is an interesting warrior. I've play tested her in a couple of different scenarios to see how her skills work, because she's a very unique character that can actually be slotted into a few different team comps depending upon how you look at it. So she's a mage. She heals, revives, and damage resist. Now, I want to focus not necessarily on the heal, because I think that her healing can be good, but I want to focus on the revive and damage resist, because this is where she's going to shine depending upon how you view what I'm about to say. You have to look at her skills here. Okay, the first skill here, she's a mage, so she's going to deal magic damage to 2 enemies with the highest attack. First, I was like, mages should always do damage to everybody. But you got to read the rest of it here, where she still inflicts curse. If you don't know, dual excels at inflict their debuff damage is curse. If the target has a shield, though, she'll do additional damage equal to 10% of the target's maximum HP, which is huge, by the way. There's a 2-turn cooldown, so she has the potential to do some serious damage. The problem is, it ignores defense, but it does not exceed 400% of her own attack. What it does not state is that this damage, although it ignores defense, which means it's going to be a higher calculation on the damage, the problem is it does not ignore shields, as far as I can tell. Meaning that if a warrior has a shield, she's actually going to help take that down a little bit sooner and a little bit faster. And she's going to heal the 2 allies with the lowest HP for a shared amount of the damage inflicted. 2-turn cooldown. She's still capable of doing some serious healing. Okay, I do not know if this healing amount is increased by a heal bonus. They need to clarify that, but I mean, you're already going to do, if it 400% of the caster's attack, if you were doing, which it's not a huge attack, but anyways, you want to pump her up We'll talk about stats in a minute, but where she really shines and where things get a little confusing and wonky is these remaining 3 skills. So let's look at her passive here, because this is where she's going to get the revive. She's getting an increase to HP attack, which is actually good to have an increase to attack for a warrior. Usually the HP is the higher. To get a 50% increase in attack that's added, that's awesome. She's going to get a flat 30 speed bonus, which is cool. But when the turn begins, she's going to grant Returning Soul. Returning Soul grants continuous damage resistance of plus 40% for 4 turns and cannot be removed. I cannot stress enough how powerful this actually is. 40% damage resistance is actually 40% damage reduction. That's why it's very powerful. And she's granting this to all allies. Also, when you die, you become a flower of death. We'll take a look at that in a second. It's a really cool animation. You actually look just like this, a bloody flower of death when you die. Okay? You become a flower of death, lasts up to 4 turns. Okay? Flower of death, after death, on the 5th turn, you revive with a max of 40% HP. This is huge, and she's granting this to all allies. Can activate earlier by Bloody Flowers, which is her last skill. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Don't want to get ahead of myself, but what this means is that at the start of a turn, she is granting damage resist and giving you Returning Soul, which means on the 5th turn you can revive. Everyone on the team has a chance to revive. Now, through playtesting, I will confirm that if you are the only one on the turn and you have your skill leveled up to 3, you do grant yourself Flower of Death, but you do not revive. If somebody on the team does not last 5 turns, you cannot revive. So I tried her solo just to test this 5th turn thing. She does grant Flower of Death to herself, but if you don't last 5 turns, so if she dies on turn 3 as a solo player, she will not return. Just keep that in mind. That's one of the caveats. But also keep in mind that Spirit Removal does apply. Spirit Removal is a rune skill that... so Holy Spirit here gives you a chance, if you have the rune skill Holy Spirit, it gives you a progressive chance starting with turn 1 to revive with a guaranteed revival at turn 5. So she basically has a built-in Holy Spirit, giving it to all allies. But Spirit Removal is a counter rune skill that gives you, if the enemy has that, you do 30% more damage to anybody that has Holy Spirit. So granting Return Soul, the counter to that is if somebody goes in on an Awakening skill and puts Spirit Removal on there, you're going to do 30% extra damage to anybody who has this. So you've got to be very careful. So let's go look at her second skill, or her second actual skill. Spider Lily, she does magic damage to everybody. Removes all, she has a 60% chance to remove all target buffs, okay? Converts a Dark Fragrance for each buff removed. Dark Fragrance reduces evasion and their magic damage resistance by 5% for 2 turns, stacks it up to 5%. That's a 5 times 5, 25 basically percent magic damage resistance. Further reducing your ability to resist magic damage, and she does magic damage, so she has some potential there to be pretty deadly and in reducing your evasion. After that, she grants Incantation, lasting for 2 turns to dual attribute allies only. Okay, when attacking an enemy with Dark Fragrance, 60% chance to inflict an additional 2-turn lasting curse. Awesome. Bloody Flowers. After taking an action on your own turn, if there are 3 Flowers of Death, all Flowers of Death are instantly revived. This is kind of wonky because this is like an auto wipe. If somebody goes in and wipes most of your team out after taking an action, she can detonate all of the Flower of Deaths. So keep in mind, she's granting that at the start of the turn. If somebody in the enemy team comes in and wipes you out, she can instantly revive everybody 1 turn. But keep in mind that the cooldown still applies. Returning Soul cannot be reapplied for 2 turns after the resurrection. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Now this actually comes to mind with the new event boss, when they do that 70% HP burn, and they end up wiping you in 3 turns. Some people are getting wiped. I'm not saying pull her for that boss. I'm just trying to give you an overview of the skill. So keep in mind that she's granting the ability to resurrect. You have to have somebody on your team last 5 turns in order for that to work. Haven't tested it on an individual basis, but she can automatically detonate that and revive multiple people at a time. So that is her in a nutshell. That's her look. How should you pull for her? Well, I think she is an interesting and amazing addition to the dual attribute team, and I can think of several team comps where that auto revive is going to come in handy, but it's not going to change the meta. So should you pull for her to 11 and 12 stars? Absolutely not. I'm going to stick with the standard, use my books, get her to 8, and then I'm going to summon the rest with gems, down to the wire, and then I'll use books to get a remaining copy of a third to take her to 9 star. And I will be using the exchange to go on ahead and get my books and recharge my books. As a special bonus, guys, if you haven't checked the new calendar, we have another new beautiful warrior coming, I believe, next week as well. So we're going to have back-to-back resets on the exchange to recharge our book. So it may be worth going on ahead and pull for her in terms of who she is. If you're a new player, the advice is always going to be the same. Pull for those warriors that are going to help you out, namely Sakine, the S Sakine, and Amphalia, who are going to help you out in a lot of circumstances and situations. But don't pass up pulling for her at least to 8 or 9 stars, depending upon how you look at it. Let me know what you guys thought of her skill sets. Have you played around with her outside of the trial battle to kind of use that auto revive in clutch situations in PvP, not necessarily PvE? How far did you pull her, and what do you think of her overall being the first dual attribute warrior, SP warrior, and her skills? That's it for this one, guys. I'm going to see you in the next one.